Captain on the bridge.
Alright, captains, we are back on the bridge, and today we are going to go over Star Trek Lower Decks Episode 4 on screen. Yes, so captains, I do love this intro. I don't know what it is. It just gets me in the mood when I see this intro, and of course we saw this first when they introduced this sort of intro in Strange New Worlds with the Enterprise doing the little loop-de-loop, and now it's the Cerritos, or Churritos like I like to say. So again, it just gets me in the mood. I'm here and I'm for it. So alright, so what we're gonna do is go over some of the scenes here, drop my ECs, and of course give our conclusion. So again, captains, I'm super enjoying Lower Decks. It's a great filler in my opinion, and it just sort of fills the nostalgia nuggets that I'm looking for. So start off here with the scene of the Lower Decks crew kind of in cramped quarters here actually, and it was kind of funny here because there was an officer here kind of just walking with a towel, and of course Mariner says, and the name of the officer is Fedorov, saying, hey, you could have replicated a larger towel, and that was quite hilarious. But they're just talking about how cramped it is here in the Cerritos, and talking about all about being in the thick of things there. And of course, for some reason, apparently this is a normal thing. And it's like a second time this week, apparently, according to Mara, but Captain Freeman apparently gets possessed by a mask, and she declares her name as Manuki, I believe is what she said. Manuki? Looks like she's actually doing a big bang attack. Captains, if you get that reference, comment below. But apparently, as she's sort of floating through the air there, everything's turning into like a sort of temple-looking-ish thing here, complete with vines and even waterways, which is kind of hilarious. But with that, goes to the intro, and here we go. The episode name is A Room for Growth. And again, captains, I am appreciating and loving the fact that they're doing these scenes of just the Cerritos in space. So simple, yet so effective. And it also gives some nostalgia nuggets, and I'm for it. So we see here the crew, and while this is happening, the crew, Captain Freeman is talking about what had happened. And apparently, you know, it's taken time for all of this to sort of go back to normal with the engineering crew there, maintenance crew. They're taking out all the panels there. It's just like all it is just sort of overlaid onto the ship's computers. But in here again, they are in engineering, and still complete with waterfalls, but you can tell that they've been working there pretty hard with the looks on their face. I love this little LCOS here of the Churritos. I love how the sort of deflectors kind of raised up so you can see all the decks there, and loving that. But you see there Captain Freeman with Billups, who he's kind of losing it there. He's kind of losing it, and with that, you know, he just kind of lets go, and Shaq says, you know, let it all out, and he actually does. And I laughed out loud here. I really did, because he slapped him, and and all he says is, it's okay, let it out, and all that stuff, and he just hugs him. And of course, everyone's in shock that he did that, and he tries to do a little another slap there, and Shaq's just like, yeah, sure. But with that, Captain Freeman orders everyone there, even there's Rutherford there, who's been working on restoring the Cerritos there, to get mandatory shore leave. So everyone was excited. Not really, but of course they're trying to get back to normal here, and apparently there's some sort of freeing up of a room there on deck 1. In the way they're saying, there's 4 rooms on deck 1, I believe is what they'd mentioned. But here's Rutherford getting ready for the trip. There's Tendi now. Of course, they're trying to clear all that up there. Now, while they're talking about this, Rutherford kind of jumps down and knocks Tendi's little pet Goopy. Goopy? I have no idea what that is, but sure. She starts chasing Goopy down some hatches, and when she finally gets to Goopy, he sees 3 members of Delta Shift talking about trying to rig this sort of contest that there is for this free room deck 1. And their plan is to kind of go through the maintenance shafts or whatever to get there. So Tandy hears this, reports it back to Mariner Boimler, and of course they're not going to allow that to happen. They're going to do it themselves there and try to beat a delta shift to that computer. Again, I can't say enough how I love these starship shots. I really do. So there's a Cerritos coming out of warp and looks like meeting up with this ship right here. And there's actually 3 other, maybe 4 other ships here. And there's an Andorian ship there. But it's the Dove. And the whole engineering crew gets here and they're greeted by Taz? It's a 3-armed alien, and they're welcoming them, and apparently says that her mission is to make them relax. But you can see there, of course, with Captain Freeman there, like they all look so tired. I actually feel how tired they are. You can tell in their voice and their energy. And again, it's just kind of fun to just see what's going to happen next. So they're getting kind of wristbands here and some lemonade there. And apparently these wristbands are going to monitor their mood, and yellow is sort of kind of a, not the super stress state, but kind of like elevated stress, not, you know, code red or anything like that. So Taz is giving them a tour of the rooms there that they're going to be able to relax in. You see the Andorian there looks like she's being attacked by cute puppies. The next room is like some sort of mud bath there. You see some of the people in there. Next room was funny. The Klingon there was this is his relaxation, throwing things all over the place, hatchets, macleths, and everything. And as they're passing there, he actually throws one in the window and he just starts cheering. When they look back, they see the crew actually fixing the door, and of course Captain Freeman was just not happy about that, and says they need to start ASAP. So back to the Cerritos there, you see the trio coming up the plan, which they think is going to beat a Delta ship there. And again, I love this whole little schematic here, the L cars. So simple yet so effective in my opinion. But they have to start here in the holodeck. There's apparently a hatch there, but Dr. Ta'ana is in there, so they just kind of go in there, and apparently it is a sort of holodeck program going on currently, and they go walk into a bank. Now, when that happens, well, Ta'ana and Shax come in there. They're actually holding up the bank. This is their program. Now this gets a little PG caps because yeah, the next scenes here I was just like, geez. But again, we got to remember this is a little, you know, tongue in cheek, a little bit fun, but not that this wasn't in the original sort of ENG and or any iterations of the Star Trek out there. But we'll go into that a little bit later. It's a holdup. They're just holding up a bank there, and then of course shooting starts happening, and it's the feds apparently in this program. So you see Shax and Ta'ana fighting back, and Ta'ana actually takes off the safety protocols. How crazy cat this girl is. He takes it off there just in time too, because it stopped right in front of Boimler's face there. But they start, Shax actually freezes the program. They start arguing because he kind of wants to talk to Ta'ana about, you know, his feelings and such like that, and even actually brings up his death. He wants to talk about that. Now, Ta'ana, this was kind of, again, this is where the PG part comes in, and they're still trying to get over there, and of course, Ta'ana says, "Okay, I'm not going to repeat what she says," but she starts to kind of take off her shirt. And Shax says, "Put those away, Diane." And apparently that's their name for each other. But they do this program to kind of get in the mood, captains, if you know what I mean. And of course, the three are kind of gross and sickened out there. But they find the hatch there, so they're going to have to go through now to sort of get Shax back in the mood there. Ta'ana promises him to tell Shax how she lost her tail. And that's what gets Shax back into the moment there. I thought this scene was fun still altogether. Obviously these two are an item, but the whole thing between the two and him actually talking about his death there. And remember, captains, when it did happen before in the previous season, it was either the previous season, I believe it was. It was just like kind of normalized that an officer would come back from death. That they continue the program there, and they're all happy, and they wanted to kind of hear what was going on, but the trio, but they kind of went there. And here's back to the scene here of the Dove and the Cerritos. Again, love it. Just the nostalgia nuggets. I'm there for it. And here the trio is actually going down. It kind of shows them where they're going. Obviously, we saw it in the L cars there, going through the tunnel there, and they make it here, sort of below the hydroponics bay, and oops, sorry, caps. Right below the hydroponics bay here, and there's a little nugget there. There was that being there that duplicates there. Apparently, I didn't even see it until I saw it on Twitter. It apparently got stuck there. So underneath hydroponics bay, there's all the sort of roots that come below into this little maintenance sort of route here. So it was kind of weird. And above it, you see Kayshawn kind of tending to his sort of flower, which Mariner kind of made from, like, who goes into space to start a garden? Well, Kayshawn does. I can never understand what they say, or he says, captains, but Tendi actually finds it some sort of flower or whatever it is, organism or thing that is sort of not dangerous to them, but it's kind of dangerous to everyone else. And then Mariner starts hallucinating. And this was kind of funny. She had like anime eyes here. I thought that was pretty hilarious. Points out to Boimler. So Boimler and Mariner are affected by this, and that's because of low oxygen levels there. So they're kind of tripping out there. And Mariner's apparently tasting sound. That's a thing. Tendi is a starfish / butterfly, starfly. I don't know. And apparently they're saying, this is what they're seeing, but really it's nothing. But they're hallucinating. So Tendi tries to snap them out of it. There, Mariner's kind of she's in an egg. Boimler's losing it, but she kind of drags them to the hatch there. Starts beating Mariner with a stick. I thought that was cool. Tendi has her moments, captains. I really do absolutely love Tendi and what she brings to the crew here. She drags them in there. They're all good and safe. So back to the Dove here. Captain Freeman is with Taz there. She's really happy that they're all kind of relaxing now. But lo and behold, they were in the sand. They were drawing schematics, and that kind of pissed off Captain Freeman. So she kind of snuffed it out. She goes over there, but she sees one of the crew members over there getting a massage. Go over there. She's kind of happy with it, but actually, what she's doing is building something while she's being. 2-for-1, right? It's a 2-for-1. You get to relax and get to build something. But Captain Freeman takes that away, and she's like, "Am I the only one?" And of course, the other crew member was also doing something like that as well, building. So she kind of walks away. She's like really getting irritated and angry, while the rest of the crew is actually, so you can see all the bags in their eyes or whatever is gone because they're actually starting to relax. But of course now they're worried about Captain Freeman. Back to the trio there, they make it to, I think it's the deflector dish room, and it's kind of low gravity, and they start kind of floating around, and it was kind of a cool scene where Boimler was being all Boimler-y. But then, apparently some rocks were heading towards Cerritos. It was on screen there, and Ransom says, just turn on the deflector. I think Shaxton wanted to shoot him, but like, no, turn on the deflector. But in doing so, it turns on the deflector, that's where they're in. So it starts up there. Shields are up there. Love the little animation there. Again, it's not formed shield, it's a bubble shield. We saw these form shield kind of over the years here, and I'm glad they kind of went back to this. That's kind of what I'm used to. Then, of course, when they get stuck kind of there because it's spinning, so he gets stuck. But Tendi Mariner are able, like, well, at least Tendy is able to grab the ledge there with Mariner, and she drags them in there, and they said they need to get Boimler, of course. So what they do, they take off their clothes and use it as a line to grab Boimler, and Tendy grabs Boimler. But his scream, it's such a staple now for him. His scream, I absolutely love it, and it's hilarious. I just, again, I have fun watching this because it just keeps me smiling, laughing out loud, and this is one of the moments. But they're able to pull him in here by his hair. Could you imagine Captain being pulled in by her hair? Because that would hurt. So back again to the Dove here. Finally, Taz and Carol sees everyone sort of relaxing there and getting a pedicure, but one of the Rutherfords offered a pedicure, and he's kind of hesitant. Now you can see there his band is green, but and he says, he's okay, just keep it the pedicure, but the reason why it's green is, well, the bypass, apparently the wristband, they put a cucumber underneath it, so they're still kind of yellow, but and then this is where Carol Freeman loses it, because she wants everyone to relax, but in doing so, it's actually stressing her out, and she actually just loses it, and actually her band goes red. So it does actually go red, and making everyone feel bad. And you can see Taz is like seeing then now her band has gone red. I love this animation of her just kind of losing it with the vein in her head, and yes, now her wristband went code black red there, and they needed to get her, because the one that was super stressed was actually Captain Freeman there. And this is hilarious how they're just dragging her off, and now Todd blames them for not relaxing, and of course they now feel guilty, and they kind of have an idea, a plan to try to fix it. So they're going to do something, they're going to engineer something. Now back to the Cerritos. Now they get to where they wanted to get to, but apparently this opening opens up every so often, and when it does, they only have a very small window to get through. So the plan is just to kind of wait it out until that hatch opens. But in doing so, it was a cool moment here. They're actually talking about what they're going to do when they get the room and how they're going to help people to enter. I thought that was pretty funny. But when Tendy says enter friends, Delta Shifts kind of falls here. It looks like they've had a rough go at it as well. Funny thing is, they start kind of getting friendly with each other, and one of the reasons that they stated is that they don't kind of get along is, well, they don't see each other. When Delta Shift is on, Beta Shift is off. When Beta Shift is on, Delta Shift is off. But they start to bond here, or so it seems. But this red shirt here, I never actually caught his name. Tells a story of apparently Ransom. When he turned into a caveman, they locked him into the cafeteria, and was saying something about that when they locked him in the cafeteria, he replicated a doll out of churros, and then and Boimler's like, yeah, that did happen. And Churros Olivia or something is what they are called it, but apparently it's Churro Olivia. It's a thing. It's real, and it apparently bonded with churros. I don't remember that. I guess I have to rewatch my seasons, even though I've binge watched it. But I thought that was kind of funny that they're poking fun at Ransom there. And unfortunately, it was just sort of a ploy to kind of keep them distracted so that they can keep an eye on the actual hatch opening. And yeah, they kind of get pushed to the side there while Delta Shift gets through the vent there. And back in the Dove, yeah, Captain Freeman is losing it. I love the animation. I really do. They're really showing that she's just lost it. And of course, her band there is lost. And now they stuck her in the puppy room, and they wanted to put more puppies, but that was all they had. And I thought this was cool. They even put the bunnies. Captains, if you don't know, we have bunnies. We have 7 bunnies, captains, and maybe one time I'll tell you the stories, but some of the captains, of the stories of how we got 7 bunnies. If you know, captains, comment below. But that was a thing. They tried to stuff in more bunnies in the room. Now, of course, the engineering crew come in here because they're, of course, concerned. They bust in there, Rutherford. They apparently made a machine of the ship parts is, and it's supposed to like amplify the relaxation, and within 10 seconds give her like 10 times the relaxation that she needs, and they're begging the captain to get in it. Now notice how that their bands are green. This is actually what makes them happy. The engineering crew is just trying to fix problems. So yeah, they were overworked obviously with what had happened, but you know, their relaxation is this is their job. This is why they're engineers, right? They want to fix things. So there you go. The green bands all across is actually, and they convince her. And because the thing is, there'll be a chance that Carol actually goes back to Starfleet and Freeman if she does not calm down. Like from what I gathered, so they stick her in the machine there. Of course, Talis is kind of hesitant, but gets out. She's kind of pissed, but actually, it actually worked. Everything worked out. She was actually really happy. There's the band, there's green, and you know they kind of leave. They get back. They want to get back to the ship there, and she she Taz is like, okay, well, get this thing off of my ship, because obviously if every ship had this, which she kind of mentioned, then they kind of wouldn't need the dove. Of course, that's her business. That's what she does. So she orders it to get tossed out the airlock. So now back to the trio here. Apparently there's some mush leaky here stuff here from Delta, but it actually shows the water flowing down a hatch, which Boimler opens, and he goes into. Apparently Boimler's trying to be like sort of bold Boimler, and he just goes in, and apparently just slides down here, and it leads them to where they need to, right up that hatch. They get to the computer room. Now when they get there, Boimler notices that it's actually just one room. So it's like, okay, they feel like they're gonna get split up because there's supposed to be 4 rooms, but there's only 1 room. So in the end there, they decide to stick together. They don't even throw their names in there, and that's it. So see, they're happy about just sticking together, not getting the rooms, because meaning they got the room. They would have now, in my mind, I'm like, well, why don't you just share it? Well, that's what happened. They won, Delta ship won the room, and now they just actually they're sharing it. So there's a party going on. So now they're pissed and everything. So so Rutherford comes back, and he even kind of says what I was thinking out loud, like, why didn't you just put your name in and get the room? We could all just share. That was the whole point. But of course, it's too late. So now that's kind of the end here. But then right at the end here, Ransom is in the cafeteria here, goes to the computer, replicates a bag of churros in an unmarked bag. Apparently this is true. I thought this was like an awesome moment here. I thought it was funny. Apparently there is a churro Olivia, and maybe we get to see, maybe. Of course, we end up here with a shot of the Cerritos and the Dove and the other ships there. So there's the episode, Captains. I thought it was fun. Again, I've enjoyed the series immensely. Star Trek Lower Decks. It's just it's a quick sort of episode. They're like only like 20 minutes long, but a lot of things happen, as you can see when we go through the scenes there. We're hopping back and forth, but I believe they're kind of, again, they're laying off the nostalgia nuggets. Now there was a line there that Captain Freeman said they're a bunch of Geordi LaForges when she's being hauled away, but I guess what I'm trying to say is they're not heavily just throwing so many references at you. And that's kind of what I wanted. And because I think the show is standing on its own and building the relationships between sort of of course, the main four, Tendi, Rutherford, Mariner, Boimler. Then we're getting to see a bunch of other side relationships build, of course, to Anna, Shax, Freeman, Ransom, and all that. And I am enjoying that. I really am, 100%. Now, this episode, I wouldn't say it's as strong as the first 2. I know I gave the last episode I can't remember. I think I gave it an 8 or something. This one, it scores a little higher. We're going to go to an enjoyable 8.5. And it was just good. Nice pacing, I thought. Nothing too in your face. A couple of fun things that happened there. And regardless, it's it feels Star Trek to me, and that's where I want to be in terms of my feels. And I think Star Trek Lower Decks is coming on its own now. This is episode 4, so I'm wanting to see what sort of direction they go, if they're going to keep this up. And then episode 5, another maybe character or characters centric episode, and then sort of deal with what they're going to end off with, or so like a looming thread or something like that, because I would think that's how they're going to do it. I wouldn't think there's going to be one episode. I hope they kind of do a build up of maybe 3 or 2. So, but anyways, captains, there you go. I give this one an 8.5. I thought it was really fun. Thought it was enjoyable. A great watch. Couple of nostalgia nuggets there, especially when it came to showing the Cerritos just flying in space. Such a simple shot, but it just brings me back to watching Star Trek The Next Generation. So, captains, we'll continue on with this. I know this one's a little late in terms of getting it out there, but we have been busy here on the bridge, and as you can see, captains, we actually just finished off the Star Trek Day tribute series, and we actually ended off with the Cerritos, which, again, captains, look out for more series like those. We're going to do those because they were super fun, but we also got so much positive reaction there. So we're going to continue with that. But here's our review for Lower Decks episode 4. Like the video, comment below, tell us what you liked about this episode. Tell us how you feel about Star Trek Lower Decks so far. Subscribe here to the YouTube Bridge, and captains, we will leave it on this note.
Live long and prosper.